Hello, everyone. We are here today to break down Deep March Frost. I just want to say a quick thank you so much to everyone that has been streaming and listening to this song. It has meant the world. I've been anxiously awaiting to share the song with everybody, and it means a lot to us. And it's been a really important song for where the project is at now. So if you haven't checked out Deep March Frost yet, I'm going to put links in the bio. It's just Deep March Frost by Wildered on all major music platforms. But let's jump in and let's talk about the production behind the song and kind of how I brought everything together. The whole song is written around this sort of mini song I made as part of a song challenge I did a couple years ago, where I would make little mini songs that were a minute or less on Instagram and posted them every day for 30 days. And so at the beginning of this year, I came back to Deep March Frost because I knew that this song fit the sound of the project well and also was pushing into the direction of experimenting with new things that I've been wanting to try with Wildered. You, of course, heard with Your Ghost that we were pressing into more electric guitars and more of a full band sound. And now with Deep March Frost, using some vocal processing within the folk kind of groove was something that I really wanted to try and really wanted to press into that could kind of let Wildered stretch into a few different areas this year. So first, let's just take a listen to the original Instagram post. This is actually still on Instagram if you want to listen to it with better quality, but let's just take a listen real quick. You can hear it's not quite as clean as it is now. Okay, so that's it. Basically what's happening in this mini song is acoustic guitar that loops the whole time, the same line, a banjo lead, a synth bass, a like infinity pad, just fifth, floating above everything, and then of course the vocal synth auto-tune thing. With Your Ghost, we really pressed into more of the full band and electric guitar sound of things. And so with this release, I wanted to even further press into some experimentation, which of course came in the form of that vocal effect I used. The vocal effect is modeled after what Justin Vernon of Bon Iver uses and calls the Messina, named after Chris Messina, the guy who invented it. So it's a little bit different than what they do. Basically, I just did my best to replicate the sound in a way that I liked it. So it's a straight vocoder with vocal synth. For those that don't know, vocal synth is a plugin by Isotope that is awesome. It can do a lot of really cool and nasty things to the voice, and I highly recommend it. It's not too expensive. So apparently vocal synth is $50 right now on Plugin Boutique. I think it's usually like 200 tops maybe. So go online and check right now. It might be on sale. But regardless, vocal synth is awesome and you should use it. So I'm using the vocoder in vocal synth. Nothing else. It's just the vocoder. I don't know how much the presets matter, but it's off of the Planet Galaxy preset with the sync saw and the hard vocoder. It's not shifted at all, and the scale is all the way up to 100. And basically, I can even show you here. Basically, I have one track that is the vocal synth, completely wet, no original signal. And then I have another track that is the same, it's the same audio, but it's just hard auto-tuned. So both tracks are the same track of me singing, but one is hard tuned and one is the vocal synth, and I blend them together so it kind of starts to sound like it's one thing. So I can mute, obviously, the vocal synth, just like the beginning of the song. And then just... For me, I just like when the melody is able to cut through a little bit. And so adding the auto-tune within the vocal synth sound really creates that kind of Messina-ish sound that I really like. I use Wavestune for everything. I have Wavestune Real Time and Wavestune, just Wavestune. I love Melodyne, and I know a lot of people use Melodyne, but it's expensive, and Wavestune is not. And if you are not aspiring to be a mixing engineer and you are a songwriter and you're just producing songs for yourself and then working with other producers or mixing engineers, I would definitely recommend tapping into some of Wave's plugins. Some of them are really great. Wavestune has been great for me if you kind of learn how to use it in a way that it's better. Anyway, going back to sort of how the song was developing, we started as that mini song on Instagram. And so then what I did was I sort of just like looped the acoustic guitar part for a while to give myself some room to sing a verse. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll put some reverb on this mic and just kind of riff and sing different stuff while I'm looping whatever I have so far. One of the greatest obstacles with this song was getting over that it wasn't going to be like a normal structure. And I, as people who listen to Wildered know, I have this struggle a lot. And so I really had to follow my heart with it and keep it the way that I was feeling, where it kind of starts with the refrain section, then there's basically a song, and then it ends with the refrain section. So once I got over that, I also knew that I was going to want to use more clean vocals and harmonies and things like that in the middle of the song to sort of go with the sound of Wildered. So I should probably say all of the first songs that we've released have felt very like wintry. Even the Euroghost songs kind of have that kind of feel to them. And this has been this first song that has kind of felt springy and is still obviously in that cold place. But it does feel like a turn. And so in the production, in a lot of what we're doing and lyrically, it's kind of had that turning feeling. And all of the lyrics and all of the vocal melodies and production were in favor of that idea. If you guys want me to do videos where I talk about lyrics as well, I can make those a little shorter too. Let me know. I would love to do videos talking about the lyrics in some form if you guys want that. I can also do live streams if that's easier, if you guys have questions that you would want to ask live. Just let me know in the comments what the best thing is. Okay, so then sometimes I will use my voice as an instrument to help spark melodic ideas. So that's what I did here with the hums. I'll never get away from you. I never understood my choice. And as you can tell, the lyrics were not fleshed out yet, but I highly recommend, if you are a songwriter or a creator in some form, to just get your ideas out when you have them, because you could forget them. And so I do that the same way when I think of these ideas on my phone. I'll record them in a voice memo, and I just have like a million voice memos on my phone. I know a lot of you guys relate to that. But similar for this, I just plug in the mic and make sure that I get the melody idea down. Now, I know I kept a lot of those lyrics, but for this song, it was easier for me to come back and tweak lyrics because I had such a strong idea in my head of where it was going to go lyrically. And I was struggling more with making the melodies happen. So I just wanted to get them out when I was in the zone. And of course, so I wasn't sure what to do after that first chorus section with the backing vocals. So I ended up just adding that crappy MIDI kick, just to give it that bluegrass feel. And I knew it was going to be up and then come back down for verse 2. And so I just copy and pasted verse 1, and again, I put in the lyrics later for verse 2. And then since it was it felt like it was building up and things were layering in. So delineating from the original chorus melody felt right here. I just put this acoustic of me strumming hard here because I knew this was going to be a big section with a lot of layers, and it was just the only way I could think to remember that and hear the other instruments in my head. And then here, I could not think of what to do melodically when the chorus came back. A little trick to do sometimes if you're having trouble building up a section that happens earlier because of the register that it's in, sometimes I'll just jump around in different intervals of the chord that fits in that melody. Let me demonstrate. So the original chorus is I'll never get, and that obviously was too low for there to be a big chorus with that, but it is a Wildered staple, of course, to have those 3-part harmonies. So I thought maybe I can hop around interval wise and it'll work. And so I'll never get away from you. And then I ended up just tweaking it a little bit because it didn't quite grab me singing it exactly parallel to the original melody. So I ended up just staying on the first note. I'll never get away from you. But really, it needs those other harmonies as well to give it that really big sound. And then I knew it was going to drop and go back to the original version of the refrain. I made the earlier refrain have that lower vocoder part instead of, so to save the high intense one for the end of the song. Here's the low one in the beginning. And then the end of the song. I know every songwriter and producer has their own process, but I would highly recommend that you make demos in general. It helps me not procrastinate and not be a perfectionist, because then I have a great idea of what it's going to sound like before the mixing engineer gets their hands on it. And so that greatly eliminates any kind of 3 months down the road regrets of things you didn't hear on the song at the time. Not to mention studio time and time paying producers and things like that. But also just the practice of doing it has really helped me spark my inspiration, and it's become a pretty intimate part of my writing process, typically. So at this point we had generally the main flow of the song. Then I wanted to start putting the pieces together of what it would actually sound like and retracking things. So then enter Josh Miranda, who you all know and love. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, I kind of had that infinity pad going on throughout the song just as I was writing and figuring things out. I left it in for a while, and I knew I wanted to retain that sort of ambient sound that is so prominently a part of the Wildered music. Well, that's Josh. I don't know all of the profiles we used offhand. We used Kemper's. This was pretty much all Josh, all Josh's guitar tracks, but feel free to reach out to him. I'm going to link everybody that I mentioned in this video in the description if you want to reach out to them for whatever it is you might be looking for. But Josh just really knows how to take a song to the next level. We'll have passes where he just does ambient stuff throughout. We did multiple types of ambient tracks that we ended up picking and choosing from. Leads, of course, rhythmic, complements, whatever it is. I will always work closely with Josh because he just knows how to take the track to that next level. We should just pressure Josh to do a rig rundown or something, because between his Kemper and the pedals that he uses, which is not a ton, he just really knows how to use the few that he has. He's really just able to make any song have that right atmosphere. So again, I'm going to tag Josh I'm going to tag Brendan, the mixing engineer, and Alex, the mastering engineer, who I will talk about in a moment. So here is without Josh. Just kind of get an idea of the space, right? And then of course the big section has like nothing. And this was also around the time that I started retracking everything. So you'll hear the tracks also sound different. So you can hear he just has like those little nuances. I don't know if you hear that. It just really helps fill in the gaps. And then I killed the infinity pad at that point because it wasn't needed anymore because all of Josh's stuff was filling that gap. I'll even just go through the labels that I put for each track I used for Josh because there's a lot. There's like 10 or so, but you have to understand that like each of these tracks just has like either really subtle things throughout the song or like one section. So track 1 is ambient, track 2 is ambient, track 3 is like effectsy ambient. So that's like very little things throughout the song. The effectsy ambient stuff is just like you can hear a couple parts he kind of plucks at the strings a certain way to like create kind of like an icicle sound to go with sort of the theme of the song. Another thing he does is at the very end of the song to kind of help the build, he kind of just creates some noise. Let me see if I can find that. Pretty cool. Well, this is one of the ambient tracks for the very end of the song. And there's just lots of little ambient whale cries throughout the song. And then of course there are sections where he's much more prominent. But there's little things complementing the lead here too. Just kind of layer in the back. This kind of little chord thing. So it's just all these little subtle things that are really making a big difference with this kind of music. This kind of music just really relies on the layers coming in and out, so it works for this. But there is such great power in the simplicity as well, and all of this is complementary. So once we got all of this nailed down, I sent it off to the guy who mixes all of the Wildered stuff, a very close brother of mine, Brendan McDonald, who I'll also link below. And so, man, you can just hear the difference when Brendan got his hands on it between, you know, my version here sounded like this. So I'm comfortable producing all of this, but really the nitty-gritty, making it less muddy and really making the space meet its full potential is where Brendan comes in. I mean, from the very beginning. So he tweaked the reverb more intricately, the EQs, the compressors. Needless to say, Brendan is a very important part of the process. Then we sent it off to Alex Dobert, mastering engineer, who is awesome, did a great job. I would highly recommend him as well. Will also be in the description. And also a shout out to Charlie Dresser in Sound Summit Studios. Charlie let me stop by and hit the kick drum, do the cymbal, and also those snare rolls. So a big thank you to Charlie helping me out as well in Sound Summit Studios for tracking the stuff that I wasn't able to do here. And that's pretty much it. I hope I answered all the questions that people were wondering about this song lyrically and just in its overall writing and production. Really has been an exciting turning point for Wildered, and we're excited to experiment with some new things with upcoming songs. Again, thanks so much for streaming and listening. Leave any other questions in the comments below. This is kind of a new thing that I'm trying, so if live streams work better, or if there are things I should focus more or less on in these, let me know. I'd love to do more if you guys want them. And then also, if you want lyric videos, let me know on that as well. That can be for Wildered music or just any of the other stuff that I'm making. Thanks, guys. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. I will catch you next time.